Welcome back to Kleppers Corner. Today in history, the show that dives into the calendar like Indiana Jones in a filing cabinet, pulling out dusty, explosive relics that remind us we've been screwing up, rebuilding, and rebranding civilization for thousands of years. Today's date, November 12th, is a masterclass in contrast. It's a historical mullet, empire business in the front, internet party in the back. On this date, monarchs were crowned, republics were proclaimed, dictators consolidated, borders were drawn, and the World Wide Web quietly went online. So we could argue about all of it. So buckle up. We're time traveling through the cross-section of November 12th, where the human obsession with control and chaos built the modern world. Segment 1. The end of an empire, the birth of a republic. Austria, 1918. The Austro-Hungarian Empire finally taps out of the who wants to rule all of Europe game. 600 years of Habsburg dynasty go poof, replaced overnight by something called German Austria. Yes, German Austria, because apparently the Austrians thought, what could possibly go wrong with branding ourselves closer to Germany? Spoiler alert, everything. The empire's capital, Vienna, went from being the center of a multicultural empire to a sad imperial leftover, like someone who kept the big house but forgot how to pay the heating bill. The new government immediately begged to merge with Germany, but the Allies said, nein danke. So instead of empire or unity, Austria got existential angst and schnitzel diplomacy. It's like when your band breaks up and you immediately try to join the more successful one, only to find out they've already got a frontman with a mustache problem. Segment 2, Stalin versus Hitler. Bureaucracy beats beer halls. Fast forward to November 12th, 1927. Leon Trotsky is expelled from the Communist Party, cementing Joseph Stalin as the undisputed ruler of the Soviet Union. Stalin's secret? Bureaucratic power. He didn't storm palaces, he stormed the HR department. Meanwhile, on November 12th, 1923, Hitler was being arrested for his failed beer hall putsch, his let's overthrow democracy with drunk karaoke night moment. So, on one November 12th, one dictator learned how to win by filing paperwork. On another, the other learned how not to start a coup. Stalin's rise was office politics gone nuclear. Hitler's failure was the bar crawl that launched fascism 2.0. Both would go on to rewrite world history, proving that the pen is mightier than the beer mug, but both are equally dangerous when wielded by a lunatic. Segment 3, drawing lines and causing problems. The Durand Agreement, November 12, 1893. Britain, bored and full of cartographic arrogance, draws the Durand Line, a 1,600-mile border between British India and Afghanistan, because nothing says lasting peace like a straight line across a mountain range. This line split the Pashtun people right down the middle, ensuring over a century of instability. It's the geopolitical equivalent of dividing the pizza unevenly and then being surprised when everyone fights. To this day, Afghanistan says the border's fake, Pakistan says it's not, and the Taliban says, why not just ignore it entirely? The British Empire's favorite pastime, divide and conquer, continues to haunt us like a bad tattoo. Poorly planned, impossible to remove, and still inflamed. Segment 4, from crowns to symbols, the evolution of monarchy. November 12th is also a royal sampler platter. In 954, a 13-year-old was crowned King Lothair of West Francia. 13. The only thing I ruled at 13 was acne and awkwardness. Then in 1035, King Canute, yes, that's his real name, don't laugh, died after building a North Sea empire that united England, Denmark, and Norway. He famously told the tides to stop, which honestly makes him the original influencer trying to control nature for clout. Fast forward to 1990. Emperor Akihito of Japan is enthroned, the first emperor of Japan with zero political power. The ceremony was more pageant than politics, like The Bachelor but for constitutional monarchs. So, in one millennium, monarchy went from divine authority to divine photo op. Today's kings and queens rule Instagram more than empires. Segment 5, the World Wide Web, bureaucracy goes viral. November 12th, 1990. Tim Berners-Lee submits a proposal for something called the World Wide Web. Just 4 engineers, 50 grand, and zero idea that they were inventing humanity's most efficient distraction machine. The proposal even said it wouldn't include multimedia or video. Yeah, Tim, because who'd want to waste time watching cat videos, right? The web started as a fix for CERN scientists losing their data. Now it's how we lose our sanity. It was built to share information, but somewhere along the way, we turned it into a global shouting match over pineapple pizza. Still, without this November 12th memo, we wouldn't have online shopping, streaming, or this show's entire audience pretending to work right now. Segment 6, Ellis Island closes, the end of the Golden Door. On November 12, 1954, Ellis Island shut down after processing 12 million immigrants. The real-life version of America's Got Talent, except the prize was just a lifetime of hard work and mild xenophobia. Its final detainee was a Norwegian sailor named Arne Petersen, which sounds like the least dramatic ending to an epic story ever. And thus, the melting pot went cold. Ellis Island's closure marked America's shift from give us your tired, your poor to give us your paperwork in triplicate. It's wild. We spent half a century building a nation of immigrants, then decided the statue should keep the torch, but stop opening the door. Segment 7, Deregulation and Data, the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, 1999. November 12, 1999. Bill Clinton signs the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, also known as the Financial Services Modernization Act, because nothing says modernization like deregulating the banks that caused the last Great Depression. It repealed parts of the Glass-Steagall Act, letting banks merge like Pokemon. JP Morgan Chasemon, I choose you. At the same time, it created data privacy rules because Americans were suddenly realizing their Social Security numbers were worth more than their savings. So November 12th gave us both the seed of the 2008 crash and the opt-out checkbox nobody ever reads. It's capitalism's version of trust issues. Segment 8, Humanity Expands, from meteors to comets. November 12th has always been humanity's favorite day for looking up, and then immediately building something dangerous to get there. In 1799, the first recorded meteor shower wowed sailors off Florida. In 1936, we built the Bay Bridge. In 1966, Gemini 12 astronauts took the first space photos of a solar eclipse. In 1984, they performed the first satellite rescue. And in 2014, Europe landed a probe on a moving comet, basically skeet shooting in space. Our ancestors looked at the heavens and saw gods. We look and see a chance to install Wi-Fi. Progress. Segment 9, Architects of Change, Stanton, Sun Yat-sen, and Rodin. November 12th births a whole Mount Rushmore of architects, not of buildings, but of ideas. Elizabeth Cady Stanton drafted the Declaration of Sentiments and basically said, hey guys, women are people too. Revolutionary, apparently. Sun Yat-sen toppled a dynasty and built modern China from the ground up, which is impressive until you realize he did it without social media. And Auguste Rodin reinvented sculpture by giving us The Thinker, a man pondering eternity while naked, proving art and shower thoughts have always gone hand in hand. If November 12th were a person, it'd be the friend who both starts revolutions and insists you admire their art exhibit about it. Segment 10, Icons of the Modern Age, Grace, Nadia, Wilma, and Stan. The 20th century icons of November 12th were pure media gold. Grace Kelly turned from Hollywood royalty to actual royalty, proving fairy tales sometimes require better lighting. Nadia Comaneci scored the first perfect 10 in Olympic history. So perfect, the scoreboard couldn't compute it, which is the most Romanian mic drop imaginable. Wilma Rudolph ran her way from childhood polio to Olympic glory. Basically, real-life superhero origin story stuff. And then there's Stan Lee, who didn't just create superheroes, he created relatable superheroes. Because nothing says human connection like a radioactive teenager in spandex. Segment 11, War, Massacre, and Consequence, 1942, 1991, 2001. November 12, 1942, the naval battle of Guadalcanal begins, and in Africa, Montgomery captures Tobruk. In one day, the tide of World War II literally turns. November 12, 1991, the Dili massacre in East Timor shocks the world. What the military tried to hide, journalists filmed. And suddenly, human rights had a spotlight. November 12, 2001, the Taliban abandoned Kabul. Everyone celebrates, thinking it's over. 20 years later, the Taliban's back, proving history doesn't repeat. It just refuses to log off. This date over and over shows humanity's greatest habit, declaring victory before the credits roll. In conclusion, so what does November 12th teach us? That consolidation and fragmentation aren't opposites, they're our whole deal. We build, we break, we rebuild with a worse logo. From kings who ruled tides to programmers who built the web, from Ellis Island's closure to Comet's landing. This day is the microchip of human history, compressed, electric, and still glitching. It's the story of power trying to centralize, and information, art, and people breaking free from it. So next time you click, scroll, or rage post, remember, it all started somewhere between a fallen empire and a guy at CERN saying, what if we just link stuff? Happy November 12th, the day history remembered to hit refresh.